second shots and shots in transition.
A look at the starting lineups tonight, beginning with the visiting Wildcats playing their first true road game of the season. And they start a very young group as always. 4 freshmen and Willie Cauley-Stein, the veteran of the group, the sophomore, starting in the middle. For the Tar Heels, Marcus Page has been the big scorer for Carolina this year. Page is averaging almost 19 points per game for North Carolina. But Carolina is still without 2 key players. On the right, P.J. Hairston. On the left, Leslie McDonald. Both still dealing with eligibility issues. Neither one of them permitted to play yet. For the latest, here's Janine Edwards.
Well, Dan, I spoke with the NCAA yesterday, and they could not comment on when they feel this investigation will be completed. But North Carolina Athletic Director Bubba Cunningham told me just moments ago he believes it's getting close to resolution. But keep in mind, it's the school holding these guys out from playing games. Because if they are deemed ineligible due to violations and they've played in games, the school would then have to forfeit those games. So in the meantime, they're practicing, they're attending home games, they cannot travel. But Cunningham told me this process has taken way longer than the school or the NCAA ever thought it would. Dan?
You know, Janine, I did find out they're really close to make a resolution because they finally got cooperation from the people involved, the other principals. When you talk about what happens, we're not questioning about impermissible benefits, and the bottom line is they finally got cooperation from the guys that had the cars and leased them to P.J. Hairston.
And of course, what tantalizes Carolina fans, Jay, is if they can be good enough at their best to beat Louisville and Michigan State without these 2 guys, imagine what the ceiling for this team might be with those 2 guys.
Well, it certainly makes them a much better offensive team. Those 2 can both hit a 3, and that has been a challenge for North Carolina. But defensively, the Tar Heels have gotten off to a very good start.
Tell you one thing, Jay, you talked about earlier about shooting threes. One guy has made 20, and the rest of the team made 3. And it's a shot block.
Cauley-Stein with a rejection. He's had 2 9-block games in the last couple of weeks. One against Boise State, one against Providence.
And North Carolina is going to go inside and challenge him. And Joel James goes away from the shot blocker instead of into him to create contact. Cauley-Stein has been an incredible shot-blocking, shot-changing presence around the rim.
Well, you look at Kentucky, look at the makeup of their team. You look at them as a potential outstanding defensive basketball team.
The Harrison twins in the backcourt for Kentucky. Andrew, the point guard. Aaron with the ball right now. The shooting guard. Out of bounds. It will stay with Kentucky. Aaron has been scoring well, especially recently. Andrew is the guy they're looking for a little bit more from right now.
Yeah, well, distributing basketball. Jay, you did the game with Boise State. The one negative in that game, and they played so well, they had 19 turnovers.
And that's something they've got to clean up. But they played much harder on the defensive end and communicated much better.
John Calipari saying he's not quite sure what to expect from his young team in their first true road game of the season. Shot clock now into single digits, and Andrew Harrison has it knocked out of bounds by Nate Britt. We've got a battle of big, strong guards for Kentucky, smaller, quicker guards for Carolina. Baseline drive, and the lay-in for Aaron Harrison as Kentucky strikes first.
He's a little better offensively than his brother. His brother's more of a distributor. He can score. He can shoot the 3.
Well, he immediately got a matchup advantage over a North Carolina big guy. And anytime there's a matchup advantage, anytime North Carolina's in denial defense, you can expect Kentucky to put the ball on the floor and drive it to the rim.
I think the guy that's got to step up big time is James Michael McAdoo. I think he's got to be a major factor on that baseline for North Carolina.
He's had some very good moments this year, also some subpar games, averaging about 13 points and 6 rebounds per game. This is Page, and what a huge step forward he has taken from his freshman to his sophomore seasons. J.T. Tokido misses the jumper, and down with the rebound is Randall. He averages 12 rebounds a game.
See, that's not the strength of Tokido.
That's the strength of Young, but he misses the 3. Just a little bit strong. McAdoo in transition is fouled.
Good job by McAdoo getting out in transition, running the court, Jay.
That's where North Carolina has to be effective. They can't play 5-on-5 half court all game long.
Roy Williams never knows from one day to the next what to expect from his team. They lost at home to Belmont. They lost at UAB. they've beaten Louisville on a neutral court, and they won at Michigan State. So they've already beaten the #1 and the #3 team in the country this year as they take on number 11 Kentucky here tonight.
And their Achilles heel has been right there at the free throw line. Hey, they make free throws. They're here undefeated and maybe top 3 in America. They're 22 for 48 against Belmont. They're 4 for 11 against UAB.
High arcing free throws from McAdoo, who makes them both.
I got a feeling we're going to see a big game out of McAdoo, Jay.
He has struggled over his last several games. He's 9 of his last 35.
He's got a tough matchup here with Randall. That's a tough matchup. I'd get him one-on-one on that box.
Randall, the only player in America averaging 17 points and 12 rebounds per game. He gets a lot of touches for Kentucky. Andrew Harrison lobs it up, and a slam for Randall.
Great play right there. Tremendous vision. Great execution. Good offensive efficiency right there in a half-court game.
Well, that's so hard to defend because when you try to stop the drive, if you just take one step toward the driver, they are lobbing it up to the basket. You have to fake and recover, but it is really hard to guard.
And they got the right guys. You can lob it to you. Lob it to me, you've got trouble.
Page to the cutting Brit. Nowhere to go. Pulls it back out.
Kentucky is switching everything.
Counted, and a foul for Tokido.
That's Tokido's strength. Physical around the basket. Very athletic. They also switched on every play. I watched a little bit of the Boise State game, which you did.
They did exactly that.
Watch Tokido right here. This is where he's got to go. Tokido's got to play on the interior. Let's shoot jump shots.
And the foul on Cauley Stein, and that's something to keep an eye on. Tokido, not a good free throw shooter at all. There's a foul on McAdoo. Tokido went 4 for 16 from the line in that game to Belmont. But the foul on Cauley Stein, his first. And Jay, obviously, if Carolina can get Cauley Stein in trouble, that changes so much on the interior.
Well, you have to be physical with Willie Cauley Stein. One, that means going right at him. You see there are 2 hands on the ball handler there. That's going to be a foul every time. But Cauley Stein does not react well traditionally to physical play.
Well, that's a great point, Jay. That was the problem against Baylor. Baylor beat him physical on the inside. He only had 3 rebounds in that game.
Another Kentucky turnover. Page.
Harrison got really good pressure on that shot.
Hard to believe when you look at the North Carolina team. There one guy 20 for 51 and the rest of the team 3 for 26 shooting threes.
Without Hairston and McDonald, they've lost most of their shooting. Page was over 50% from 3. Earlier in the year, he's gone cold the last 3 games, and he misses the layup.
Tremendous drive for the goal, but didn't finish the play.
Aaron Harrison driving, scoring, and getting fouled.
Strong drive by Harrison. John Calipari told me he took out video of John Wall, Brandon Knight, and his guards, and he showed Harrison. He said, you got to go up strong. He's very passive, he said. He doesn't attack. Even when they do a pick and roll, he doesn't go off the pick really strong to the goal. And he thought maybe he reached him by showing video of the guys like, well, you know, Wall was pretty special. And so was, you're talking about Knight and Teague.
Well, with his size, Aaron Harrison, and the ability he has to shoot the ball, if he drives it, he's going to be able to get to the free throw line and be that much better of a weapon.
And he's got 5 in the early going. Kentucky leading by 3. The Wildcats 8-2, ranked 11th. Tar Heels 6-2, ranked 18th. North Carolina leads the all-time series 22-13. Tokido looking inside for Kennedy Meeks, who just checked in. And he's fouled by Dakari Johnson, 7-foot freshman out of Brooklyn, who's just come in off the Kentucky bench. John Calipari talking about that bench, Jay. Guys like Johnson and Alex Poitras, who's coming into the game even as we speak. That's what Kentucky needs to take them to the next level.
Well, they need to get good minutes, and Kentucky did a very good job of defending that low cross screen and the screen for the screener action, but then Dakari Johnson did a nice job of pushing Meeks off the block and then fouled him. That's just a mistake that they can't have.
Second foul on Aaron Harrison, who is off to such a good start. 5 early points. And you can see how dejected he is as he's forced to go to the bench less than 4 minutes into the game.
And Dan, these are just cheap fouls. So Kentucky made Carolina made them do what they wanted, which was throw the ball long. You can't foul in that situation.
Hey, one thing, Meeks has been a big factor in their 2 big ones over Michigan State and Louisville. He has been a dominant performer. Great hands, very strong, tremendous outlet passer.
This is Meeks. A little bit strong on the jumper. Long rebound comes back to the big fella. And he's rejected by Poitras.
Hey, they got guys inside that can block shots. Last 5 years, they've been unbelievable in blocking shots. Led the nation 3 times. We're going to watch right here. Great vision. There's the lob up on the baseline. And Mr. Randolph, it is Dunk City, baby.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by PlayStation. Greatness awaits.
A lot of big games against them.
Yeah, no, big game.
You might have called some of those games.
I did.
Yeah.
I called him a blender. I used to say Jay Billis. He was a glue man. He was a blender.
I thought you were calling Michael Jordan the blender.
No. He was no blender. He was solid gold, man.
Meeks draws the double team.
Good double team up on that base. Forced the turnover.
Loose ball to the Wildcats.
Forced that turnover.
Andrew Harrison all the way. Left hand. Yes, and a foul.
You can't let him go to the basket like that, Jay. Unmolested. Nobody stopped the driving angle. Take a look right here. Nobody stops the ball and back to the ball. Don't see the ball. Right to the goal for an unmolested layup.
Well, the first mistake was Marcus Page gambling out that far for a steal, and that opened things up. But you're right, Dick. Bryce Johnson, Kennedy Meeks, they didn't have vision on the ball. They were worried about picking up their men.
Bryce Johnson the foul. Offensive rebound to Curry Johnson. Meeks got a piece, and it's Carolina ball.
Well, he's decided he's going to play the big guy some minutes here. Johnson.
Johnson's a guy that can really score. He could be an answer for North Carolina getting some buckets in the post with his turnaround jumper and jump hook.
This is a big lineup for Carolina now. McAdoo at the 3. Bryce Johnson, who's really got the ability to score, showing that he can step out and knock down a jumper as well. Usually you see him very effective around the basket.
Has not played more than 25 minutes. The reason? Defense and always playing with intensity. But he can score the ball. 13 points a game, I believe he's coming in with off the bench.
Offensive rebound, Andrew Harrison, steal by McAdoo. Looks ahead for Johnson. And a foul. Poitras got him at the rim.
Okay, the last time these two teams met, it was a classic. It was a classic. It finished with the great block shot by Anthony Davis, as good as a shot blocker has ever been in college, and John Henson was taking that shot. Remember that game?
That was number 1 against number 5 2 years ago when Kentucky beat him by a point, 73-72. Bryce Johnson at the line for Carolina as we check in again with Janine.
Well, guys, something to watch for in this game is something John Calipari told us he's been working on, bringing out the killer instinct in his players. He says these guys have no chip on their shoulder. Most of them were elite players in high school. They didn't necessarily have anything to prove. He said, I need them to make it personal between them and the opponents.
He wants a little more junkyard dog on this team of his.
Well, he had that, he said, with the John Wall Club. He certainly had it with Michael Kidd-Gilchrist and the Davis gang as well.
A couple of missed free throws by Johnson.
You know, having great talent is one thing, but blending that talent to play as a unit and to be cohesive, that's something else.
Randall whips it out of bounds through the hands of Poitras. The 4th turnover committed by Kentucky.
I don't know with that body why he's throwing the ball out there. He's got to take that right to the basket.
Well, they ran a set to isolate Randall on the right side where he could use his left hand to get into the middle. He went baseline on Bryce Johnson. But this is a little more size and length than he's been seeing. North Carolina going to their box set America's play.
McAdoo finds Tokido. Knocks down the 3.
That is big. That is big. If he can make that shot. Royce says, wow, great shot. When he started to take it, what's he doing? What's he doing?
Just the 4th 3 made by a Tar Heel this year other than Marcus Page. And listen to the noise here with the Dean Dog.
This was America's play, a little cross screen, then coming off a double right through the gate. When it went inside, it was immediately kicked to J.P. Tokido, who is the 2nd best three-point shooter on this Carolina squad. He's made 3 now.
We would say how many he's taken.
Randall. Too strong on the jumper. Poitras up with it. And finishes.
He is so strong.
And he is still down.
But hard to believe with all that contact there was no call, but that was a meeting at the summit up top, and Poitras finished that play. What strength.
And that's something John Calipari has been wanting to see from him. The aggression, the urgency, the determination that he showed on this play.
I guess it was just by the rim, but a terrific finish up top. And John Calipari has told Alex Poitras, look, you're not a playmaker, you're a finisher. And he proved it right there, finishing that play.
Well, a lot of people thought that he would have been gone to the NBA. They thought that he and Willie Cauley-Stein in the middle of the year would be gone. He came back. The guy that didn't come back, Kyle Wiltshire. And I think Wiltshire could have helped this club with his range as a shooter.
Transfer to Gonzaga. Young draws the foul. Known more as a shooter than a slasher. Young, a lefty, one of 5 lefties in the starting lineups between the two programs today. Young is a guy who's averaging almost 14 points per game, and he can really stroke it.
You know, it was amazing in the match 2 years ago. At one time on the floor, envision this, think about it, one game, 9 first-round players. 9, that's incredible in one game.
Here comes Desmond Hubert and Isaiah Hicks into the game for Carolina. Jay, we were talking about this earlier. Roy Williams has used at least 11 players in every game this season.
Well, the pace at which North Carolina wants to play, to get up and down the floor, have a lot of possessions in the game, he's going to be able to play a lot of guys. If you play the way Roy Williams wants you to play, you're going to get winded at times and going to need a little bit of a rest. Kentucky doing a very good job of denying when they're coming off those screens and switching every exchange. They've defended pretty darn well in this ballgame to this point.
Well, they're doing a great job on Page. He's their big scorer. They've stopped them right there. What a block shot.
Cauley-Stein with another one. Andrew Harrison dips the shoulder and draws the foul, seeking out the contact, and he'll be rewarded with a trip to the free throw line.
Well, the crowd didn't think so. The crowd didn't think so. We had that great shot blocked again by the blonde shot blocker, Jay.
Well, I said before, he was a good shot blocker as a brunette, but even better as a blonde. And that was when he switched off a ball screen out top, still got to the rim.
He's becoming a Dennis Rodman. Hey, I'm not wearing a wedding dress, though. I'm not wearing a wedding dress. Calipari says, I don't care about wedding dresses. You play like Rodman, and you'll be on that floor the entire game.
Cauley-Stein is a 7-footer, a sophomore, and has 45 blocks this season. This is Kentucky's 11th game. Tokudo, great little fake. Can't finish, and Cauley-Stein down with the rebound, only to turn it over to Johnson.
Bryce Johnson with the steal and the score. He's just got a nose for the ball. That flat-out kid, that kid can put points on the board. If he played 35 minutes, think about his numbers. But he's got to earn it. He's got to earn it by playing defense and by being with more passion.
He plays 20 minutes a game and averages 13.6 points per game.
Well, Roy's not happy with his defense and with his effort all the time.
Randall called for a double dribble.
You know, Jay, I don't see a real good rhythm into Kentucky's offense. We're going to see the steal right here. Bryce Johnson.
Story or what? This is 13-year-old Kentucky resident J.D. McVeigh. You know, when he learned that a 13-year-old girl named Allie Nedved was recently diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Allie is a girl he had never met, he decided to donate all of his birthday money and gifts, totaling $700, to her. When Allie and her family discovered that JD is a huge Tar Heels fan, well, they arranged for he and his family to come to this game tonight. They drove all the way for Kentucky, and JD got a pass for missing school yesterday. If he writes a paper about his visit to the Tar Heels Museum, I don't think he'll have any problem doing that. And yes, guys, he should get a pass.
Yeah, it seems like a good trade-off, and that's a tremendous story. What a quality young man. What a great story. Thanks, Janine. Underneath, Hicks, and it's pinned. The arrow is going to keep it at this end of the floor. Meanwhile, remember all the fun we had when J.P. Tokudo made that three?
It was a two.
They reviewed it. He had a toe on the line. So still only 3 threes have been made by somebody other than Marcus Page in a Carolina uniform.
Tokudo had a toe on the line. That's nice.
Well, twos have been hard to come by in this game because of Willie Cauley-Stein, Poitras, and Julius Randle. Everything has been challenged by the rim, and North Carolina's not gotten a clean look inside the lane.
McAdoo and draws the foul.
That's why you need a perimeter shooting. if you had a guy out there like Hairston making those threes, it stretches the defense, creates angles.
And there it is. Tokido's got 2. Britt's got 1. Page has 20. And 2 of their better shooters, especially Hairston. And Hairston and McDonald still ineligible right now. So Carolina with very little perimeter shooting. Also a very poor free throw shooting team.
Shooting 61% on the line as a team.
Well, that's why they've got to get transition baskets, and they have to get second shots.
They're doing a really good job on Marcus Page, not getting open looks.
Count the basket for McAdoo.
He should be an 18-point-a-game scorer. No 13 points a game. He has too much ability.
Well, McAdoo only shooting 40% on the season, but he took his time here. He paused for poise when he caught the ball and then got right into that turnaround jumper over his left shoulder. That was very nicely done. He got fouled as he went up. But I think sometimes James Michael McAdoo gets going a little bit too fast. His confidence has taken a hit, and he's a much better player than his numbers indicate.
Squared his body really well. I think what happened with him, he played about 17 minutes a game as he missed a free throw. When he played with the gang, Zeller and Henson, Harrison Barnes, and I think those guys were able to cover up some of the liabilities. Then he was exposed a little bit, playing 30, 35 minutes a night.
Carolina now just 2 for 6 from the line in this game. They're down a deuce. Young knocks down the 3.
He can do that. He made all 4 in that game at Boise State. They don't have a lot of threats from the perimeter either.
It's that little two-man game between him and Willie Cauley-Stein, and Tokido needed to stay on him and make Young put the ball on the floor.
That's a tough turnaround from James, who was pleading for a foul call. Kentucky in transition. And it's going to be a foul. Roger Ayers asking for help from Joe Lindsay. Should it be a goaltend as well? Lindsay says no. So it is a foul and a couple of free throws.
Well, they had the foul before he released the ball.
Well, it still would have counted. It just was, they got it on the way up. If it would have hit the backboard, it would have been an automatic goaltend. But Johnson got it before it hit the board, and it was still going up.
The one thing with Kentucky, they go to the free throw line quite a bit. In fact, they're 3rd in the nation going to the line over 33 times a game. I mean, that's quite a bit over their opponents.
And they're just body seeking right now. Harrison, Young, they've been just throwing themselves at the rim and daring anyone to get in their way.
Well, the one stat that would bother me if I was John Calipari, they have turned the ball over 22 times more than the opposition in forcing turnovers.
And for people who may be tuning in a little bit late, Aaron Harrison, who got off to a very strong start for Kentucky, is on the bench with 2 fouls, went out better than 6 minutes ago. But the Wildcats still playing well. Strong drive by the freshman, Nate Britt.
Nice score by Britt, taking the ball to the goal. They have a very simple formula for Britt. Get us into an offense, play strong on the defensive end. He's not a threat offensively from the perimeter.
He can make an open shot. He's not a three-point shooter, but his mid-range shot, he's a lefty, is pretty good.
Julius Randle just 1 for 3, 2 points so far for Kentucky.
Well, he's too stationary right now. He's not active enough to want the ball.
Carolina ball.
He's got to be a little bit more aggressive and want that ball.
ESPN Films 30 for 30 presents Youngstown Boys, the story of one-time dynamic running back Maurice Clarett and former head coach Jim Tressel, both from Youngstown, Ohio, who came together to win the 2002 National Championship at Ohio State, but later both of their careers took a downward spiral. ESPN Films 30 for 30 tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN.
Kentucky got a switch on that last play and had an advantage inside with
Tokido on Johnson. And Kentucky now in a 2-3 zone. This is a team that John Calipari thinks can be a very good zone team. They just haven't worked on it very much.
And Page is on the bench, but now he's coming to check back in. They have no really good outside shooter on the floor right now. McAdoo drives again and draws the foul.
I really believe they can be a good zone team, and I think that zone has to be part of their defensive system in today's day and age to try to reduce fouls, the way they're blowing the whistle, calling fouls now. I think the zone with that length, Jay, and that size they have, they could have a really mini kind of situation like Syracuse.
Well, I don't know about Syracuse just because it's a primary defense for Syracuse. But they can certainly be effective in it if they play it with the intensity that they play man-to-man. You can't just stand in a position and play zone.
James Young picks up the foul, his second, the second Wildcat to go to the bench with 2 fouls. in the first half. Aaron Harrison has 2 as well, and Marcus Page back into the game for Carolina as James Michael McAdoo goes to the line.
You know, you mentioned Syracuse, they're number 2 in the country. What about Arizona? Great win today to come from behind to beat Michigan, who played superbly in the first half, and then all of a sudden down the stretch, they made great plays. That backcourt we talked about, McConnell and Johnson, very effective, very efficient. But I don't know. I believe right now Syracuse might be the best team in the country.
Really?
That's how good they are. The kid Ennis and Cooney have been better than what I expected.
Out of the Big Ten with teams 3, 4, 5, right? The friendly bounce.
Wow. Wow, that's good news, and that bounce goes that way.
And Randall called for the travel, and he is in disbelief.
I think they're pushing Randall away from the low box, doing a great job getting him away from where he's so dominant in that low box.
Well, he's getting a little diagonal up screen there, and James Michael McAdoo has the quickness to force him a little further out on the floor.
And I think Kentucky has gotten a little bit frustrated because of some of the calls they think they should have gotten. They need to let that go and play.
Now back in the man-to-man now.
Page wide left on a shot that would have tied it.
Hawkins getting some playing time. He earned the scholarship from the state of Kentucky, led his team to the state championship, was Mr. Basketball.
Andrew Harrison off balance and draws another foul. This one is on Page, his first.
That was a smart play by Dakari Johnson to throw that ball back out. Once the ball was thrown back out and he could repost, that allowed Harrison to drive the middle.
Tell you one thing, they're a team. It's a process. It's a process for them to really get their rhythm and the flow. I don't think we're going to see a real Kentucky basketball dominant team until you get into conference play.
Well, we saw Florida on Tuesday, a team that's going to battle with Kentucky in the SEC. They picked up a big win over Kansas, and their team, Billy Donovan's finally starting to get more pieces to the puzzle together. They look like a very dangerous team.
Well, they're an experienced basketball team. You got seniors that went to 3 Elite Eights. I mean, there's something. They should be good early in the season. We'll see Florida Tuesday night.
Next week, yeah, Tuesday night, Jimmy V against Memphis. Dick will have that game with me. First game, Jay will be there for Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Aaron Harrison back into the game with 2 fouls, taking the place of his brother, Andrew.
They rotated into the zone, came out of the man-to-man, went to the 2-3. You're right, Jay. A zone, 5 guys have to go in rhythm. You have to slide together on every movement of that basketball. You can't have guys just stationary.
You have to play the ball and play who's in your area, not just your area.
Back into the man-to-man. McAdoo kicks it back out to Kennedy Meeks, still 13 to shoot.
McAdoo likes to drive to the right. He comes to the left. He usually shoots a fadeaway jumper off that shoulder.
Tokido. That is a 3.
Are you serious? He said, hey, all you guys who say I cannot shoot, I'm going to show you all. Wow. That's good news for Tar Heel fans. Oh.
Johnson hands it off. Dominique Hawkins can't finish. And a push against Kentucky. Is it Randall again?
It was Randall. He got Randall for a push there.
John Calipari upset with the calls. J.P. Tokido electrifying the crowd with a 3 that's made it a 1-point game.
Well, Roy Williams wanted someone to step up and hit another 3. J.P. Tokido.
Back to Dan in North Carolina.
All right, guys, thank you. Back here in Chapel Hill. It's a good one. It's a loud one here tonight. Kentucky leading by 1, and Jay, they're getting the ball to the rim a lot.
Well, they've had an opportunity off of ball screens to get the ball inside. Once you help up, as James Michael McAdoo does here, that means that they're just going to lob it up to the rim. Anytime you help up, that ball's going to the rim. And Marcus Page here gambles. Nobody sees the ball. And Kentucky, Aaron Harrison able to get it all the way to the rim. Or Andrew Harrison, excuse me, lay that thing in. Protecting the paint has got to be job number 1 for both teams, but especially for North Carolina to make Kentucky prove it over the top.
See the rebounds favoring Kentucky right now. Carolina's just 4 for 9 from the free throw line, but still within a point.
And North Carolina still has to drive the ball. They still have to get it inside because they've got Kentucky in a little bit of foul trouble right now.
Andrew Harrison, he's been driving the ball all afternoon. Page makes him turn back.
Tell you what, North Carolina playing a pretty good five-man defense right here in this set.
Lobs it up for Johnson. Followed by Cauley-Stein on the weak side.
There's the size. That size is unbelievable.
Oh, what a look. And McAdoo is fouled. Britt with a nice find.
Did a great job running the court right there, McAdoo.
Well, we talked about rebounding being an important factor in this game. It wasn't just the first shot, it was the second. And nobody turned around to lay a body on Willie Cauley-Stein. He is so mobile, Dick. His ability to move his feet, he can be out on the perimeter, he gets all the way to the basket. It's physical play that sometimes he struggles with, and he's asking for a blow right now. He's been up and down.
Well, you know, he's came out with that sickle trait situation, not the disease.
Right.
He doesn't have the disease.
Not sickle cell anemia,
Right,
but the sickle cell trait, which is more common, and it's something, and we can't speculate if that's the problem now, but it's something that does affect him from time to time. He just spoke about it a couple of days ago, saying that he gets winded, he has some discomfort in his chest. It's something the Kentucky program is aware of, and from time to time he will ask out of the game.
They say he needs a lot of liquids. Make sure he doesn't dehydrate. But right there again, another missed free throw. You make one out of two. I mean, it's been a disaster on the free throw line in both losses for North Carolina. And tonight, this afternoon, really struggling again on the free throw line.
Well, McAdoo's 5 for 7. The rest of the Heels are 0 for 4 as Andrew Harrison drives Jay and gets fouled again. And he has been a determined guy so far getting into the lane. Let's visit with Janine.
Well, and guys, it is a fine line between pushing it and being careful and being patient. Now, Calipari wants his guys to be aggressive, but staying out of foul trouble is obviously the price that you pay. He wants them to keep pushing the ball and using the ball screens to their advantage.
Tell you one thing, there aren't many guys that can handle what exists down in Kentucky in terms of the passionate fans where they live and die on every play, the media scrutiny. I only believe, really, John Calipari is the perfect guy for that job. Rick Pitino was the ideal guy. But not many can handle that, Jay. That's a tough, tough job.
It is a tough job. It's a lot easier when you recruit as well as John Calipari has recruited. It's amazing the amount of talent he's brought into that program year after year.
It's like 13 first rounders. 13.
Johnson has it taken away. McAdoo, the lead pass for Tokido, who finishes.
Tokido's having a heck of an afternoon. He really is. There's that athleticism. There was never any doubt about his explosive ability. He could start to get some confidence and be a player that they're hoping he should be really good defensively.
Had a double-double in the win over Michigan State. Dominique Hawkins with a strong drive. 6-foot freshman out of Richmond, Kentucky, and he draws the foul.
You know, you can drill and you can drill all you want. There are many people that have the athleticism as this kid. Right there, hanging in the air, converts. He's just got to go to his strengths. He's got to know what his strengths are, and that's one of his strengths, quickness and explosiveness.
Tokido just picked up his second foul. But he's going to stay in the game. Joel James in, Kennedy Meeks out.
Hey, you're a fundamental guy. You're a teacher. What is going on with making free throws? I mean, what is going on? I mean, I'm 74 years old, Jay. Put me out there, and I'll guarantee I can convert too.
Well, you might give up a few buckets on the other end.
Page, a relatively quiet first half for the leading scorer for the Tar Heels.
And that's good news for them. If you can only be down one, they haven't had any point production really out of Page.
He has not scored. 0 for 4 from the field, 0 for 2 from 3, but Tokido with 9, McAdoo with 7, picking up the slack.
And North Carolina has to look to make a move right now because Julius Randle and James Young are both out of the game with 2 fouls, as is Aaron Harrison. This is not their top lineup.
No, those 3 guys are 3 of the best players.
Dakari Johnson got a fingertip on that, but Joel James is there to clean it up.
Nice offensive rebound by James, a big space eater on the inside. This is kind of a game really important psychologically to Kentucky. They've had 2 moments of the bright lights and then 0 for 2.
Tokido.
Duck City, they're going bananas here in Chapel Hill.
Was the man who couldn't choose the right gift for his son.
A tablet
A laptop, which 'twas the right one. His friends were no help, so he sought a wise one in blue.
The powerful HP Split X2. It's a laptop and tablet.
Isn't that nice? Papa comes home with a gift that gives twice. 2 gifts in one. 'Twas a holiday triumph. Indecision no more. Au revoir and goodbye-umph. Ooh, someone needs a candy cane, and it ain't you.
Save on great gifts like the HP Split X2 at your Ultimate Holiday Showroom. Best Buy.
You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Dan Shulman, Jay Billis, Dick Vitale, Janine Edwards, all with you here in Chapel Hill. And you can make a case, guys. J.P. Tokido's been the best player on the floor tonight.
He's been a star of stars. Steals. There he is with the dunk. Has that great elevation. John, not a happy camper right there with his guard play.
He was one of the stars at Michigan State. He had 12 points, 10 rebounds, really set the tone. And now North Carolina going into their point zone. It's got an odd man front, a 1-2-2 alignment.
I like the point with Mr. McAdoo at the top with that length and that size.
Johnson muscles it up and in to make it a one-point game.
You know, I think he's got good ability in the low box. He may not be a great athlete, but he can score down in that box. Jackson.
Give McAdoo a lot of credit so far tonight, Jay, for being assertive and aggressive with the basketball.
Well, North Carolina, even after a made field goal, is getting the ball inbounds quickly and pressing it up the court. They want to get the ball out in transition, whether it's off a make, a miss, a turnover, whatever. They want to run. And the more pressure they can put on this Kentucky defense early so they don't have to play a half-court game and grind it out, the better off North Carolina is going to be.
And that foul was on Cauley-Stein, his second. 5 different Kentucky players have now committed 2 fouls.
Hey, one thing I said a little bit earlier, and I'll say it again. I felt this guy was going to have a big game this afternoon. I really think he's starting now to really get into the flow. And early in the year, he really struggled.
He's been knocking him down at the free throw line as well. 7 for 9.
There's no doubt the Big Blue Nation has a lot of talent. It's just a matter of them understanding how to really play together as a unit.
The guy they have to watch is Young. He's the best three-point shooter, and he will pull the trigger.
And that's him, and he left it short.
Run, baby, run. They want to get up that floor. Oh, bad pass, bad pass. That was telegraphed.
And somehow the ball goes back to Carolina.
Tokido has got to take that ball to the rim.
I really believe when P.J. Hairston gets on that floor, and I got a funny feeling, my gut tells me it's going to happen. It's going to be a Christmas present. The bottom line is they're going to be a legitimate threat with all the top clubs, no doubt.
Hairston still awaiting word, as is Carolina. The issue reportedly has to do with use of rental cars that were rented by, connected to a convicted felon. And Hairston is now missing his 9th game with really no end in sight, at least publicly. And Leslie McDonald in a similar situation, still awaiting word on his eligibility.
Well, I've said it. I said it on Twitter, and I'll say it again. Enough already. The kids have been humiliated. They've been punished. They've been punished by their coaches, humiliated in the papers. They made mistakes. They were wrong in what they did. But we're in the business to help kids, not hurt kids. How much are you going to wait now? They've had their punishment. Let them play.
And Jay, I know your lack of comfort with this is proportionality.
Yeah, it's a question of proportionality.
Yeah.
You know, Johnny Manziel and all his issues, he gets resolved quickly, and it costs him a half. And all that happened at Miami with the basketball program, and the head coach of Miami gets 5 games after all that. You know, failure to promote an atmosphere of compliance, whatever that ridiculousness means.
Yeah. And Bruce Pearl gets 5 years. I don't understand that.
There's a lack of proportionality. These young men have served 5 games, and it doesn't matter. I don't know about the rental car. Convicted felon, whether Mother Teresa gave it to him, it doesn't matter. This has gone on too long, and if the NCAA doesn't have a case, then they need to move on.
I'll tell you one thing, if Mother Teresa gave the car, you got problems.
3rd foul on Dakari Johnson. He's on the bench now for foul play Kentucky, as Carolina has really changed the feel of this game in the last few minutes, led by Tokido and McAdoo.
Well, it's got that little momentum on the Carolina side. There's no doubt about it.
Harrison, good help by Johnson. Cauley-Stein comes up with a loose ball. Shot clock did not reset. Young rejected. 3 to shoot.
Bryce Johnson again. 2 good defensive plays. The 3rd one he's won.
shot clock violation before the attempt by Poitras.
Great job defensively by North Carolina. Oh, the emotion, the passion. You see these uniforms, they stand for greatness. But right now it is North Carolina. Mr. Tokido. Oh, it's the star of stars. A jam, a three. They're celebrating, baby.
Till then, Dan, Dick, and Jay at the Dean Smith Center.
All right, Chris, thank you.
We're going to be honoring both Tom Crean and Mike Bray, along with Nick Saban and Mike Gallup for the D Foundation. On tickets, call right now, 941-350-0580.
McAdoo left hand off the back of the iron and down with the rebound. Andrew Harrison. Kentucky with all kinds of foul trouble. North Carolina with all kinds of momentum. And right now, you got to believe John Calipari's just thinking about getting into the locker room. He has brought Jared Polson into the game, a 6'2 senior, number 3, who played a lot of minutes last year when they needed help in the backcourt.
Well, trying to get him on a perimeter to get people settled down.
And they've got foul trouble.
And not really a scoring lineup for Kentucky because of that foul trouble. And they're slow to get into things.
Pull up that dribble. It's a no-no on Mike. Nice look, but you got to step to the ball, Jay. He didn't step to the ball.
Well, there's a lot of confusion, players playing out of position, not knowing exactly what to do.
You know, a lot of guys in foul trouble. I've said this, and I don't know if you agree, disagree. Bottom line is, I personally feel that we should go to 6 fouls. I really do. I think 5, the game has changed. We got so many athletes.
Kentucky ball with 1 on the shot clock.
People come to see the stars play, not sit on the bench.
Carolina ball. McAdoo driving again and draws another foul.
He is really being aggressive with the ball in his hands, Jay. He's attacking the goal.
And Kentucky's got to be more disciplined. They've got help behind. And one of the problems they may be having is communication, about trusting that you've got help defense behind you so you don't foul on the ball. You give Poitras a chance to block, change, challenge that shot.
You hear all the great coaches talk about the word you just mentioned. Communication, how vital it is on defense. I got help. I block out. You talk to one another. Communicate. I know you were part of that system when you played under Mike down there at Duke. It is so important. He talks about that all the time.
Well, if you can't talk it, really you can't guard it. And you certainly can't get out with confidence on the ball if you don't know what's going on behind you. If you're looking for a screen, turning your head, you're going to get beat.
Well, the one thing Kentucky's doing a pretty good job here today is rebounding the basketball. Where they're not doing a good job is turning the ball over, executing or offensively. Right now, they got 9 turnovers versus only 3 for North Carolina.
Back into the point zone. James Young just inserted into the ball game. You have to know where he is all the time and communicate.
That's him with the ball.
He's their real threat to shoot that ball. Harrison can shoot it as well. But they're matched up with him on top with McAdoo, that long arms.
Kentucky in a horn set against the zone.
Young with a runner. Wild shot. Poitras with the finish and the foul.
He's physical. He's got great physicality.
For the most part, Kentucky has owned the loose balls and the second shots on their end of the floor. Carolina's had their hands on it, but they haven't been able to come up with it. That's a ball that you have to grab. James Michael McAdoo was there to grab it. He shied away from it a bit and then compounded the error by fouling and allowing Poitras to complete the three-point play.
Man, you look at this kid's body and you expect nothing but stardom. I mean, he really is physical. He can make a shot, too, from the perimeter.
Polson back in, Young back to the bench. John Calipari wanting Polson in on defense to protect Young from picking up the 3rd foul. Joel James sits down as Kennedy Meeks returns for the Tar Heels.
John Calipari, we have a Hall of Famer in Roy Williams. I firmly believe when it's all said and done, when you look at the numbers he's going to post at Kentucky, he will be a Hall of Famer. They're zoning right now, Kentucky.
Tokido's had a huge first half for the Heels. And Meeks called for the travel.
He struggled a little bit out here today. Did not struggle in those 2 big wins over Louisville and Michigan State.
And when you catch the ball in a crowd, you have to be strong with it.
James Michael McAdoo was cutting to the basket on the right side. I think Meeks saw him. He's a good passer.
He's got great hands, terrific hands.
Young back in as Kentucky goes back to offense.
Carolina goes back to man-to-man.
McAdoo on Young.
Young can drive it, too. He's more of a shooter, but he's versatile, can put it on the deck.
Yeah, he's a complete offensive package. They just don't seem to have a rhythm offensively. Seems almost every pass is a struggle.
Harrison, crowd wanted to walk, but they'll get the turnover.
You know what this looks similar to when you and I had the game with Kansas and Florida, the way Kansas turned it over that first half. Young players as well.
And now Polson back in on D. A minute 20 left in the first half. Kentucky and North Carolina, they didn't play last year. They will play again next year. They had been playing every year, took a year off last year. They'll play next year with Lexington. Let's hope, guys, that the series continues beyond that.
They should continue. They should have played Indiana. They should play Indiana every year. Come on, Tom Crean and Calipari. Get it done.
Britt too strong. Cauley Stein down with a rebound.
And this is where the lack of perimeter shooting really hurts North Carolina.
You know, Jay, you've had Kentucky. What about Cauley Stein offensively? Is he active enough, wanting the ball?
He's getting there. He doesn't have a complete offensive game, but he's so valuable as a shot blocker rebounder.
The top women's basketball programs in the nation headline ESPN's primetime coverage of the Jimmy V Classic on Tuesday, 7 Eastern on ESPN2. Connecticut and Duke. The men's game, the first game at the Garden in New York, Pitt and Cincinnati, and then the late game, Florida and Memphis. The Jimmy V Classic presented by Corona.
Memphis has won 6 games in a row. Got a call today from Josh Pastner. I will call you tomorrow, Josh. Rest assured you will get a buzz. My wife is angry with me today because I'm over here. I'm over here instead of going to see Andrea Bocelli tonight. She had a ticket for me. And I said I'd rather be listening to the voice and the tones of Jay Billis and Dan Schulman.
You like our voices better than his voice?
No, not that dumb.
We charge the same for a ticket.
Luke Davis on the floor for Carolina. Zone again for Kentucky. Good ball movement by the heels. Johnson in and out. Tapped up, no good. And now Kentucky can hold for the final shot of the half.
They did a really good job reversing the basketball. They got it in the hands of the guy that wanted to shoot it, Bryce Johnson. It hasn't been pretty, but it's close. And it's pitting 2 of the elite programs in the nation.
Lob for Cauley Stein to tie the game.
Why not more often? Why not more often with his agility and his size?
5 seconds. McAdoo. And McAdoo draws yet another foul.
He loves driving to the right, Jay. He catches that ball. First step is big, and he explodes to the right.
Well, just a lack of discipline defensively by Kentucky. A great play on the offensive end. But Cauley Stein picks up his third.
What a big call that is.
Look at John Calipari, not happy there. Not a happy camper.
And John Calipari got teed up.
Oh, he did tee him.
He got teed up.
He teed him up. With a little momentum.
Did he?
I don't know.
Yes, he did. Yeah, they're moving him all off the line.
Calipari asking Roger Ayers, you want to throw me out? I'm not sure he wants an answer to that. But on the right-handed drive by James Michael McAdoo, they had a great angle. You just can't foul there. You have to go up straight and make the difficult shot. Cauley Stein didn't do that.
There's the tee right there. Why? Why?
So Marcus Page will shoot the technical free throws.
Are those his first points?
Yep.
Yeah, he's been real quiet, and yet they're up 1. Averaging 18 points a game.
Boy, what a big play, what a big call. 2 points already, maybe 2 more, and a third foul on Willie Cauley Stein.
Plus giving you momentum. Giving you momentum to go in at halftime with.
Well, Calipari ought to get him out of there right now. If there's a missed free throw.
Right. I agree with you.
You'd hate to see a 4th foul picked up on one of the primary shot blockers in the country on something crazy. I
wonder if they know he has 3.
Oh, they've got to know.
Somebody should tell him. An assistant should tell him. Somebody should tell him. Because I agree with you. He should be out of that lineup.
I mean, the chances are slim as the interior rebounder. He'll pick up a foul, but you never know. And
I try to block
a tough
out.
game.
There he's blocking out. You never know. Rebound in your area.
The first half comes to a close with North Carolina leading by 3. What a big play right at the end of the half, as the Heels pick up 3 late points and Cauley Stein picks up what could be a critical 3rd foul. (33-30) North Carolina leading Kentucky, with another half of basketball to come here from Chapel Hill. Right now, let's send it back to the studio. The halftime report with Chris Cotter and Seth Greenberg.
Thank you, Dan. Seth Greenberg is here.
Impacts the tournament. And welcome back to Chapel Hill, along with Jay Billistic Vital. I'm Dan Shulman, and from North Carolina, we saw in the first half Tokido and McAdoo really play some great basketball.
Well, they were very aggressive. They really did. And I think we're really surprised to be up 3 right now. Marcus Page is 0 for 5, Jay. That's unbelievable.
Well, North Carolina's scoring's all coming from its front court. Tokido, McAdoo, Bryce Johnson have done a good job. And North Carolina's first shot defense has been good, knocking the ball away when Dakari Johnson brings it down. That started transition and ended with the bucket on the other end. And North Carolina, when they do get out in transition, has a very good opportunity, but they've got to get on the glass because Kentucky has dominated the backboards in the first half.
And a lot of foul trouble for Kentucky in the first half. They committed 14 fouls. Alex Poitras, who just drew the foul, starts the second half instead of Willie Cauley Stein, who, remember, picked up the 3rd foul with 1.9 seconds left in the first half. Let's take a look now at the Sonic Showdown. James Young just 1 for 7. He's the sharpshooter for Kentucky. Julius Randle had some foul trouble. He wasn't a big factor at all. Marcus Page wasn't a big factor for the Tar Heels. And at times, as you guys both said, it wasn't pretty, but it was intense, and it's been close.
Well, it must be for the officials like officiating a car crash.
Yeah.
But one thing that North Carolina's got to do, they got to start grabbing the ball. That has been available to them, and they have not grabbed it at times when it's been on the glass. Their first shot defense has been good, but they've allowed too much to Kentucky on the second shots, and Kentucky's been great in going after it.
Well, I think another thing is Andrew Harrison missed 5 free throws. He's got to make those free throws. He's a 79% shooter. And Randall, I thought they did a great job. I know he only played 11 minutes. They did a terrific job keeping the ball away from him.
McAdoo with a jumper over Andrew Harrison, and James Michael McAdoo has 13 points in this game.
Most of them coming from the foul line, but they caught Kentucky on a switch and got Harrison into the low block, isolated on McAdoo. Most of the time he'll take that to the rim, but he's been confident in taking that jump shot, not falling away on him tonight.
Randall averaging almost 18, only 2 so far today for Kentucky. Poitras the miss, and James with that big body secures the rebound.
Well, you did a great job sealing off Randall.
Tokido rolls off the rim.
Nice move, though. That's an aggressive move, high percentage shot. They're going to get Randall involved. He's going to attack the rim.
He's going to do it himself. Miss it. Poitras holds off a defender and is eventually called for the travel.
Poitras did a great job going after that ball.
Janine Edwards had a chance to visit with John Calipari at halftime. Janine?
Yeah, Dan, you know, he was a little teed off about being teed up. That's why we couldn't talk to him going off the court. He said he was just looking for clarification because he said he could see his players' hands on the play, on the foul. He said he thought if you could see their hands that it wasn't a foul, but he said whatever. I asked him how he thinks his young team is handling their first true road test, and he said, okay. The foul trouble has really kept me from doing a lot of things that we've wanted to do.
It really has, Janine. Thank you. Cauley Stein's got 3. Dakari Johnson's got 3. And Young, Aaron Harrison, Julius Randle, each with 2, and have impacted all of their playing time. Page has his first field goal of the game.
Strong drive by Marcus Page. He's been sensational all year this year, averaging 18 points a game. That's the first bucket for him.
Aaron Harrison, who had a great 4 or 5 minutes until he picked up that second foul, picks up where he left off early in the game.
Well, no doubt about it. The Harrison kids are going to be solid, big-time players on a perimeter for Kentucky. They have to have patience, Big Blue Nation. They're going to have some moments. They're going to look brilliant, and other moments where it's going to be struggle city.
Britt, little fadeaway, in and out. Tap up and in by James.
James with a tip-in. He's got potential, Jay. You cannot teach that size, and he seems to be active.
Andrew Harrison heading to the free throw line again.
Kentucky has been getting caught on switches at times on the defensive end, and when Marcus Page makes this drive baseline, there's nobody even seeing the ball for Kentucky, and on this tip-in, You've got Aaron Harrison trying to block out Joel James. That's a mismatch, and James just goes right over the top of him to get that tip in. That's all because of a switch.
Well, he made that drive, Marcus Page, and you're right, Jay. Nobody saw ball and man. Nobody rotated over. The most dangerous thing on the floor is not the guy you're guarding. It's the basketball, and you've got to rotate to that ball. There wasn't one guy that closed off that driving angle.
For Kentucky, Willie Cauley-Stein in with his, even though he's got 3 fouls. Nate Britt, who just picked up his 3rd for Carolina, goes to the bench.
I don't blame John Calipari playing Willie Cauley-Stein.
Yeah.
You know
who he took out?
He's got to play.
Julius Randle's gone to the bench. The save, but turned it over, and Young is clobbered on his way to the basket.
He's an active player. He's going to be a star at Kentucky. James Young's got the full package. He's multidimensional. He can stretch the defense with the jump shot from the perimeter, and he can attack off the bounce.
And that's the 3rd on J.P. Tokido. It might come down to, guys, whoever's got more depth, who's ever 8th, 9th, and 10th best players, might be able to chew up some minutes here today.
Well, that's what we talked about. Victory favoring the team that makes the fewest mistakes. And give credit to Joel James for diving on the floor to get that ball. But you can't just throw it up for grabs on the opponent's side of the floor. That was essentially a pass and an assist that Joel James made to James Young.
Randle back in for Cauley-Stein.
You know, not taking anything away from kids like Morris and certainly Walton down here with Michigan. But this guy didn't finish #1 for Mr. Basketball, James Young, in the state of Michigan. Man, I'll tell you, you talk about Morris, he plays at Iowa State. Great win over a very good Iowa team that's going to dance this year in March.
Turned around by Johnson, not there. Randle with a rebound.
Randle's got to slide into the post and do what he does best, attack the rim.
Andrew Harrison fouled again. It's Bryce Johnson. It's before the shot. 2nd on Johnson, and Andrew Harrison single-handedly, Jay, might put Carolina into foul trouble.
Well, North Carolina's got to get back and corral him. But one thing they can't do is try to have a big guy that's going to wall him off by himself. That's going to be a foul almost every time because Harrison's an excellent driver and he can get lower than any big guy can defensively.
Well, you know, Kentucky's 3rd in the nation in getting to the free throw line. That means they get a lot of people in foul trouble the way they attack.
The drive by Aaron Harrison, and Johnson challenged him at the rim.
Johnson doing a better job defensively. You got to score here.
And Aaron Harrison will.
I like the Harrison kids. I really believe it's just a matter of them getting familiar with the system.
Johnson. Little bit short. Poitras with a rebound. Kentucky can take the lead.
Kentucky playing hard, I'll tell you that. Oh, he got bumped. He got fouled.
McAdoo with a little hip check is called for the foul.
He got fouled.
When J.P. Tokido took the ball up the floor, he went to go behind his back in the open floor. You do that, it's an automatic turnover. You're not going to be able to do that against a good team, and Kentucky took it right away from him, and that led to an easy basket. Kentucky's getting a lot in transition right now, and that's really turning the momentum of this game. It's been really all Kentucky, even though it's a tie ball game.
Tell you one thing, Kentucky's playing with a lot of intensity and passion. So is North Carolina. A lot of pride at stake. 4,215 wins between these two schools.
Not this time for Andrew Harrison. He's got his own miss and draws another foul.
He's really doing a great job attacking and attacking and attacking. I'd give him a hug, too.
6 fouls committed by Carolina in less than 4 minutes here in the second half, and that's the 3rd on Bryce Johnson. He becomes the 3rd Tar Heel with 3 fouls.
I see a little bounce in the step in Kentucky, a little edge going their way right now.
They're quicker to the ball. They dominated the glass in the first half, and in the second half, Kentucky is going after the ball with both hands and harder than North Carolina is.
They got to reduce their turnovers, though. That's the one thing that's been a big plus for North Carolina. Look at the turnover ratio. It is definitely a big advantage to the Tar Heels.
Andrew Harrison sits down, guys. He's 6 for 13 from the line. Came into the game at 79%.
I would attack Cauley-Stein. Whoever's guarding him, he's guarding Meeks right now. Get the ball in a post to him. He's going to try to block every shot.
Page elevates. And the rebound for Young.
So you got to think more offensively. You got to know what's happening on that floor.
Aaron Harrison stripped by Page. Numbers for Carolina. Page the distance.
Tremendous job by Page. sealed off the defense really well in transition. Marcus Page, one of the super softs now in the nation.
Kentucky's got to go to Randall here.
They forgot about him, Jay. They forgot about Randall.
It'll be the Randall screen that frees up Aaron Harrison, and Aaron will be at the line for a couple of free throws when we come back.
Gets a turnover. Here's Mr. Page. He's, I'm going coast to coast, baby. I'm going to seal off the defense, lay it up. Left-handed player, and there's the conversion and the score.
Playing terrific basketball.
Well, that's exactly right, Dan. He's only played 10 minutes in this ball game, yet he's got 9 points. He's gone 4 of 5 from the field, largely because he hasn't just been a jump shooter. He's taken the ball to the basket. When J.P. Tokoda went behind his back, he knocked it away, was able to benefit taking it the other way. With him attacking the basket, that could wind up opening up some perimeter jumpers, and he's a very good perimeter shooter.
Tell you, both clubs really attack. Because you look at the three-point shooting, it has really been atrocious. Both clubs right now shooting 2 for 9 from the trifecta. Turnovers 12 already for Kentucky, only 4 for North Carolina.
And in the second half, Kentucky has not committed a foul. Carolina has committed 7 already. It's bonus the rest of the way for the Wildcats.
And that's huge because it affects the way you defend. If you're aggressive, you're putting your opponent on the line every common foul.
And listen to the cheer as the crowd recognizes the first foul called against Kentucky this half.
Well, I think right now, Meeks is going to want the ball inside with Cauley-Stein playing him. Try to get that fourth on him. Go down to that low post.
Well, when North Carolina's got a break, they need to take it. But otherwise, they need to run good offense. And first and foremost, they have to set good screens. If they set good screens, they'll force switches and get people open.
Here's Meeks. And Randall helping out Cauley-Stein to deflect that shot. It'll stay with Carolina.
Yeah, Julius Randall did a great job defensively rotating over.
You don't make a quick move against Kentucky. You're allowing Willie Cauley-Stein and Julius Randall load up on you and block a shot.
6 blocks already for Kentucky in this game.
Just beat me to the punch on that. I was going to tell you, he's slow going to that basket.
Johnson, and there's another block again by Cauley-Stein. And then a foul on the second opportunity.
Hey, he loves blocking shots. Mark Story wrote a great article about him, called him the blonde blocker.
I believe that's his 5th block of the game already right there.
I mean, he's going to have to lead the nation. I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever when it's all said and done.
Well, he's pretty close. Chris Obekpa from St. John's is a great shot blocker, but per minute, I think Willie Cauley-Stein would be up with anybody.
And Jay, he's a guy, if he wanted to, he could have gone into the draft. He would have been drafted, but a very good decision by him to come back for another year.
Yeah, he's not ready for the NBA. His offensive game is nowhere near ready, and his body's frankly not ready yet.
He was a football player, a wide receiver. Can you imagine throwing the ball up on top to him?
Big target, huh?
Wow, pretty big target. I might even be able to find him with one eye.
Tied at 42. Randall into Cauley-Stein. Knocked away, still Kentucky ball.
Randall's got to go inside. Want the ball, Julius.
It's not a foul. He got hit.
He got hit big time.
Aaron Harrison gives Kentucky the lead. 13 for Aaron Harrison.
He's doing a good job also guarding right now, Mr. Page.
Turnaround, Bryce Johnson.
He can score. He's got a scorer's mentality. If this guy would play defense like he's playing a little tonight, the minutes would go up. I mean, 20 minutes a night and getting 13 points a game.
20 pounds stronger than he was a year ago. That's made a huge difference for him. Andrew Harrison gets the bounce.
I tell you, Aaron, Andrew, I don't know who you call it. Bottom line is the Harrison twins have been big.
Britt coast to coast.
Hey, Britt shows he can go coast to coast. We got a good one, baby. Call your friends up. Call your friends up. It's Kentucky. It's North Carolina. Are you serious?
Zone for the heels. Steal by Page.
Lazy pass. What a lazy pass. Get a timeout. TR, baby. Get a TR, Johnny Calabero.
And they have done a really nice job. You mentioned Jordan Adams, but Kyle Anderson, 6'8", has essentially been playing a point forward for him. And when you see Zach LaVine, I know you've seen him. What a Westbrook-type athlete for UCLA.
Yeah. You sit at home, you watch him dunk the ball, it rattles your teeth.
Yeah, he really is a terrific guy.
Oh, look at that play by Page. Tokido off to Britt.
Another turnover. Sloppy offensive set by Kentucky. Really not efficient offensively. Lazy passes. Really. They're trying to dribble too much against the zone. You got to get ball movement.
Ball movement, player movement, you're right. This has been against the zone, and after a timeout, after a really lazy pass out front, a weak pass that led to a Carolina bucket.
Smart move by Roy Williams to go to the zone.
Young, short on the three, rebound, put back, Aaron Harrison.
I tell you, the Harrison kids have played really well. Foul trouble, they're playing hard, they're attacking.
Rebounding has been a problem for North Carolina in man, an even bigger problem in zone.
Oh, look at this, though. Unmolested layups, Jay. There's nobody rotating over. That's a no-no. You teach that every day. Come on from the help side.
Aaron Harrison again, not this time. Desmond Hubert got a finger on the rebound. It was also Hubert who set the screen that freed up Tokido for that last layup.
Well, Hubert's strength is on the defensive side, screening, give him a little shot blocker on the inside.
Oftentimes when you have young teams, they get man-oriented instead of playing the ball.
Hubert with a putback.
Good offensive rebound and a tip by Hubert. That was a nice move by Bryce Johnson. Oh, they're alive here. They're alive.
Hubert's first minutes of the game, and what an impact he's had already. And Young fouled. It'll be the fourth on Tokido.
Ooh, that's big. He's been playing so well. As Tokido going to the rim, going up real strong, searching his name to help other kids. I mean, it is sad. I'll tell you, I was telling Jay earlier, it was so crushing to watch a mom and dad lay their child to rest.
1-800-4-JIMMY-V, JimmyV.org as V-Week continues here on the ESPN family of networks. Page dumps it off. McAdoo, 15-footer, having a good night.
That's his strength, Jay, making that 15-foot jump shot. He really is getting good looks. He's squaring his body. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, he's not rushing his shot.
Well, Julius Randle didn't even guard that pick and roll. And James Michael McAdoo wide open off of it. But so was Marcus Page off the initial action. He could have taken a wide open jump shot, passed it up. You see Randle not even up to guard that. And that could have been a jump shot. But he has his hands down and lets James Michael McAdoo shoot one right over the top of him. Julius Randle's got the ability to be a good defender. But he's got to get up there on that ball screen.
Fourth foul on Bryce Johnson. So J.P. Tokido, Bryce Johnson have both picked up their fourth foul in recent moments. That's going to bring Jackson Simmons into the game for the first time now for Carolina. And those are two big losses for the Heels.
But we'll see if Kentucky tries to exploit that matchup and go right after Jackson Simmons on the offensive end.
Randle knocks him down, but it's been a quiet day for Julius Randle.
I'm really surprised how he's not been active enough wanting the basketball.
Kentucky switching every screen and exchange.
Britt off to McAdoo. Now Britt finds a seam. Simmons kicks it out.
Oh, nice fake.
Good ball movement. Can they get a good look?
Oh, had everything they wanted. The jam, and it doesn't go down.
Hubert missed the slam.
Did a great job of reversing the ball, moving the ball.
Randle.
Calipari wanted a foul there as he went to the basket.
We could have gotten a foul. It could have been a hook on Randle. He stepped out of bounds. There are all kinds of things he could have called there.
Watch Randle here. He hooks there. That's a foul every time. He got away with it. He just called him stepping out of bounds.
And Carolina fans were asking for a technical. It was blocked out here, but I believe that Randle threw the ball. As McAdoo draws the foul.
He's been a star today.
Randle.
He's been a star today. He's been the winner inside versus Randle.
Third on Randle. McAdoo to the line where he has been off today. 9 for 13 so far.
Daddy was a real good player. Played at Old Dominion. I did a game when they upset #1 at the time, DePaul.
There he is looking on as we check in with Janine.
Oh, guys, staying composed is something these Wildcats have got to do. You know, former Wildcat and now Charlotte Bobcat, Michael Gilchrist was at shoot-around this morning, and he remembers what it's like to be a young player on a Calipari team. He said what he stresses is in a close game like this, there's going to be runs. Don't let them rattle you. Stay focused and stay with the game plan. And don't let those veins popping out on coach's head intimidate you.
Tell one thing, Janine, they didn't have to worry too much with Michael Gilchrist and Anthony Davison company with him.
Aaron Harrison with 17, Jay.
Just beating North Carolina off the dribble. There's no shot blocking presence there to wipe that away.
Trying to get some ball movement, good spacing.
They ought to include Randall in ball screens on every opportunity.
Kind of an unusual lineup here for Carolina because of the foul trouble. McAdoo misses the turnaround, and we've got a Kentucky foul. It'll be on Poitras.
And there was no doubt about that foul. None whatsoever.
North Carolina got a switch on that last play, and they had Harrison guarding McAdoo. He's got to take him down in the post. He can't shoot a fadeaway jumper. He's got to take him right to the rim.
Well, I think a lot of kids don't recognize situations strategically. They really don't. They just play the game.
Holly Stein back into the game for Kentucky.
Cut, bad pass.
Hubert was looking for the backdoor feed, but Kentucky sniffed it out.
Got to throw the bounce pass there.
Or not throw it. One of the few turnovers that North Carolina's had. Kentucky's been turning the ball over at a much higher rate than the Tar Heels.
Aaron Harrison driving again. And Holly Stein called for the travel. The crowd wanted an over the back, which would have been his fourth. But it's a travel and it's Carolina ball.
This Kentucky team, I firmly believe, is going to drive Big Blue Nation fans wild. They're going to have a tough time figuring them out on a regular basis. One moment, they're going to be so good, and another moment, so questionable.
Their losses this year to Michigan State and Baylor.
Oh, nice pass. What a score, that boy.
McAdoo turns it over. Trying to do a little bit too much. Kennedy Meeks coming back into the game now for Desmond Hubert.
North Carolina's had really good success when they've involved Julius Randle, Willie Cauley-Stein in ball screens. When they can get those guys out on the perimeter, get a switch, they've gotten some good things.
Dominic Hawkins back into the game and now for Kentucky. Aaron Harrison has gone to the bench. Andrews got the ball off to Hawkins, now down to Cauley-Stein.
Pass.
Tipped away by Simmons.
That's a horrible pass, though. I mean, it's so telegraphed. That's a Marconi special. Are you kidding me? I mean, that was so telegraphed.
Page. Got it!
That's big. That's big. The reigning trifecta, Marcus Page.
Now, for some reason, somebody thought John Calipari called a timeout, but he said he didn't. And they'll put the ball back in play.
North Carolina involving Julius Randle in a ball screen. He switched. He did not get out on Marcus Page, and Page drilled it.
You're really right, Jay. If he's going to switch, you got to step out and be aggressive and get in the shooter's face. I mean, he's lackadaisical. And not let him play with the ball out here all day.
Randle, not there. McAdoo the rebound.
Don't let him play with the ball on that perimeter all day, even if he makes that shot. Uncle Mo right now on the side of the Tar Heels.
Media timeout of the next whistle.
Going to a box set.
They're not getting hurt with Johnson or Toyota out of the game.
Foul on Hawkins. Timeout on the floor. As you said, Dick, momentum shifting to the Heels.
Look at the emotion. Look at the passion. These two guys coaching like it's their first game. That's why they're winners.
And when you switch, that means there are going to be matchup problems, matchup difficulties. When there's a switch inside, Andrew Harrison now on James Michael McAdoo down in the low post. That should be advantage Carolina. He's able to shoot right over the smaller point guard. Then when there's a ball screen up top, a switch, that means Aaron Harrison is going to have to block out Joel James at 6'10". That is a mismatch in favor of Carolina on the glass. On the miss, the easy tip in over the top. And then we had talked about putting Julius Randle into ball screens. They get him into a ball screen. He switches off on Marcus Page, doesn't get up on the shot. Page able to easily drill the three.
You know, Jay, I don't think you have to switch on every play. And they've been switching on every play. I mean, the bottom line is, like you said, if you're going to switch, you got to be aggressive and step it out. But there's no reason for switching on every play. I mean, their screens aren't that difficult to make it so difficult that you got to switch.
Well, you'd prefer to get over the top if you can, or switch 1 through 3. But sometimes you switch 1 through 3, guys get confused as to what position they're playing. They don't do it anyway.
7.5 minutes to go, guys. Julius Randle's on the bench. 1 for 6, 4 points, 4 turnovers. Not in the lineup right now. Britt launches a 3. It's loose, and it is Carolina ball. Meanwhile, Roy Williams got a little mileage out of Desmond Hubert. He's gotten some out of Jackson Simmons right now. They're weathering their foul problems.
Yeah, Chocoto on the bench, and also Bryce Johnson. They'll have him down there for the stretch. You know, Kentucky's had 2 big stages so far. Took the fastball against Michigan State, took the curveball against Baylor. Will they get the slider today? I have to talk a little baseball because you're here, Mr. Shulman.
There you go. You like your Rays re-signing, Logan?
Oh, I love
You're
it.
Happy, I know.
Best defensive interior in baseball. Their lineup, they're in field.
Look at the crossover by Britt. And he draws the foul. That brought some oohs and ahs out of the crowd.
That looked a little bit like Mr. Hardaway years ago. Mr. Hardaway, I want to change. Oh, look at that crossover.
And some broken ankles.
Yeah.
Nate Britt can get a little lower than the floor than can Alex Poitras. But Poitras got really low to the floor when he fell down. That was a terrific move by Nate Britt.
And that's the 4th foul on Poitras.
Too many kids do not utilize that hard dribble and that low dribble on a change of direction. You watch all the great ones, LeBron and those people when they change. Man, it's unbelievable. They explode with that change.
Randle returns for Poitras.
Britt is doing what they want him to do. Stats don't look impressive, but he's not turning the ball over, and he's giving them some defense. Look at the wideout. All the fans standing.
Largest lead of the game for North Carolina. And it's down to 6 as Andrew Harrison finds Randle.
Nice little pass right there by Harrison. 2-man game. Let's get to the number 8 now, getting the danger time here for Kentucky.
Carolina has to be smart and tough on the offensive end. They're going to give up a bucket here or there, but they have to make sure they run good offense and at least trade baskets.
And they
Soppy turned that over. He's got to go right to the goal. Go to the goal, Julius.
And Simmons will prevent the easy basket and send him to the free throw line.
Well, that was a good move by Simmons right there, taking a layup away from him. I think with all these kids, we saw Wiggins the other night. You see Jabari Parker. Aaron Gordon had a good second half today for Arizona. I think all of us are guilty of wanting instant gratification every moment. We scrutinize every little play they make. And the bottom line is they're still getting adjusted to the collegiate level and playing in a whole different environment than the scholastic ranks.
Johnson back into the game. Simmons gets a big ovation here at the Dean Dome. Johnson back in with 4. And 2 big free throws for Randle.
I think a smart move bringing him in. I don't think I'll be waiting too much longer with Toyota to come.
Tokedo.
I'm thinking of Toyota. Even though Jay drives Mercedes.
6 minutes to go.
My driver does.
A floater for Marcus Page, who's got 11 second-half points, 13 on the night.
Hasn't he really improved? Unbelievable his sophomore year. But look at Roy Williams on that sideline. Are you kidding me? His emotion, his passion.
Too strong for Andrew Harrison. Britt might have gotten away with a push.
Shot selection so important, getting good shots.
McAdoo.
That's a good shot. That's a good shot. James Michael McAdoo has been the PTP that many thought he'd be. Timeout by John Calipari. James Michael having a big, big afternoon.
The difference over the last period of the game has been North Carolina is getting the ball into the paint. That little floater with the left hand by the left-handed Marcus Page. And then James Michael McAdoo not settling for anything easy. He takes the ball into the paint and scores over 2. And Kentucky, the last couple possessions, has settled for a jump shot. And that is exactly what North Carolina would like them to shoot. 2-point jump shots instead of getting the ball to the rim.
Keep it right here on ESPN tonight. The Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan is coming your way at the top of the hour, 45 minutes from now, right here on ESPN. Dickie V, who do you like?
Oh, that's Lock City. Are you kidding me? I get a better chance of being assigned to do an ABC, the news with Diane Sawyer than anybody beating out Jameis Winston. That is Lock City. Diane, don't worry about it. I'm not going to be here because he's winning.
Yeah, Diane just broke into a cold sweat.
They are playing well right now, Joe. All the momentum is on the side of North Carolina.
And Kentucky attacking off the first pass instead of really making the North Carolina defense move.
They really don't have a rhythm offensively, Kentucky at all.
Simmons back into the game for Carolina. Maybe this is Roy Williams saying, hey, they got a lead. They want a better defensive player in there. So Johnson on the bench and Simmons getting more minutes. Tokido's also back in with his 4 fouls.
You know, feeding the post has become a lost art. I thought the best I've ever seen in my 35 years in feeding the post was Pearl Washington at Syracuse. That's before your time.
That was exactly my time.
5 minutes to go. Stolen away by Aaron Harrison.
There's again the lost art of feeding the post. Telegraph it. They telegraph it.
Just the lost art of being strong with the ball.
Young. A block is the call. And 2 free throws coming for Young. You can see what Roy thinks about that.
Last year it would have been a charge. Last year it would have been a charge.
Yeah, he was
there, Jay. He was there. Absolutely, he was
there.
there.
You have to be there before the offensive player starts his upward motion with his arms.
And he was there. Absolutely. Free throw line. Free throw line. A nightmare for the Cats.
They get there a lot, but they don't shoot them well. They actually shoot them better than Carolina has so far in the season, but they don't shoot them well.
Well, the reason Carolina's got 2 losses, it's been the free throw line.
2 misses for Young, but tap back out. So he misses the 2 and knocks down the 3.
That's a pretty good turnover.
And that just kills you. 2 free throws missed. And Kentucky alert enough to tap it out. And then after an offensive rebound, that's the best time to shoot a 3. That was impressive by Kentucky.
They got it to the right guy to shoot it, James Young. Even though he missed those 2 free throws, he's a terrific long-range shooter.
There's the switch.
Page. And here comes Kentucky looking to narrow the gap.
And North Carolina there again to grab a rebound. Kennedy Meeks right there, couldn't grab it. It led to transition for Kentucky.
Jay, you've seen Kentucky a lot this year. Is this the best combination game that the Harrisons have had so far this season?
They played well at times, right? Under the circumstances, as tough as this game has been, and you can see everybody bending over, grabbing their shorts. These guys are tired. They've invested a lot, both emotionally and physically, into this ball game.
This is a big game for them. They really, the kids talked about it. I mean, Julius Randle's put it all over. We're all excited going down to North Carolina. We need a big win, a big statement victory.
Well, Roy Williams said several times, Dick, at practice yesterday, hey, this is a man's game. This is a big-time game. You better be prepared for a fight.
And now Roy Williams had 4 bigs and Marcus Page in the game, and he's trying to get Britt into the game because right now guys like Johnson and Simmons are looking around and saying, who's the 2 guard? This is not a lineup that I think has ever been used, or necessarily one that Roy Williams intended to use here. They just couldn't get Britt in time. And now he's going to get Tokido in for Simmons because Tokido in a pinch will play the 2 guard.
It's been a game of momentum swings, and right now you feel a little bit more to Kentucky's side.
4th foul on Britt. A trio of heels, each with 4, less than 4 minutes to go.
Shot selection and patience so important now in every possession when you get the winning time in the last 5 minutes.
Johnson over Young. Tapped back out. Who wants it? Kentucky's got it.
Kentucky gets the ball.
Aaron Harrison, another drive off the rim. Carolina ball.
Had to drive, made a terrific move to the basket, just didn't convert.
Well, Tokoto got a piece of that. Did a good job of challenging without fouling.
Johnson does a great job in the post, considering how thin he is.
He's gotten much stronger. He's able to hold his position now, where last year he would have been pushed off of it.
Well, he put on 20 pounds.
Page draws the foul. Poitras fouls out. Page to the free throw line, Nick, when we come back.
Well, you know, Marcus Page has done a great job in the second half. There he is right now, squaring his body, knocking down a trifecta. He's been a scoring leader.
Our network now reporting this story has informed his team and the recruits that he will resign, but will coach the Alamo Bowl against Oregon. More on that forthcoming. For now, back to Chapel Hill.
You know, I wish him certainly the best. He's really had a terrific career. But, you know, you think about football, we talked about it earlier today. I don't think they have the legends and the names like we have in basketball. I think of football, you think basically 2 or 3 guys. You think of Urban Meyer. You think certainly of the great coach, Mr. Saban. And you mentioned Les Miles. But really in basketball, we got loads of them. Izzo and Calipari and Roy Williams and Krzyzewski.
Alex Poitras dejected. He's fouled out of the game. Page knocks him down and makes it a 5-point lead for North Carolina.
Get down to really crunch time now. So Randall's got to really assert himself. He's going to slide in the gap and want the ball inside.
Lob.
They're trying to go to Randall. Good rebound right there by Johnson.
North Carolina looking for its 3rd signature win of the season, really. They've already beaten Louisville and Michigan State. Kentucky looking for its most notable win of the season in its first true road game this year.
Oh, that's a hole. Wow.
Well, it's Hakatokodo time.
You know, this game has really come down, most of it, to what Bob Knight always says. That victory favors the team making the fewest mistakes. And North Carolina has made fewer mistakes in this ball game than Kentucky. Kentucky's turned the ball over. They've taken some bad shots. They've put North Carolina in positions to shoot 52% in the second half with some of their defensive breakdowns.
And now they're going to force Tokoto to try to make free throws, something that he has not been able to do well this year. 1-1.
Obviously, it was the scouting report. Put him on the free throw line. He went 4 for 16 in that game they lost to Belmont.
And it pays off.
Kentucky has dominated the glass here, 41-27. But Carolina's won the turnover situation, 17 for Kentucky.
Young with the reverse to make it a 3-point game.
Terrific drive. I like that kid. That kid has got great ability.
And timeout, Carolina. And shaken up, Aaron Harrison.
The foul strategy, the same that Tom Izzo used in the game against Michigan State, trying to foul North Carolina. They were down significantly when they tried that.
Well, the last 3 regular season meetings between Carolina and Kentucky have all been awfully close as this one. Back in 09, Kentucky with a 68-66 win over Carolina. John Wall with 16. In 2010, unranked North Carolina won over 10th ranked Kentucky. Tyler Zeller had 27 points. And then in 2011, this is the game we talked about a little bit earlier, Anthony Davis with the rejection on John Henson right at the end of the game right there. As number 1 Kentucky hung on and won 73-72. You expect this kind of thing when you got programs like this meeting.
Well, you got 9 first-rounders in that one game. And I'll tell you this, I think they were so spoiled by that great team with Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, because this team has 6 McDonald's All-Americans, Jay, but they're a long way from being a finished product.
Yeah, and they've got a ways to go, as most teams that are this young would. You know, they have to go through it together. And at times they've been going through things individually. When they start playing totally together, they're going to be a really good team.
Now, Roy Williams has countered the move by John Calipari, and he's taken Tokoto out of the game. So, no, that strategy can't be employed anymore. McAdoo's had a big game.
See, that's why I think this game is so big to Kentucky. They need a win over a big-time opponent. That's not going to help them right there.
That was a tough shot. Baseline runner for Page, 17 15 of them in the second half.
What confidence he has. He wants the ball, crunch time.
Andrew Harrison. Tipped away by Johnson. It's loose. Page. Johnson!
Oh, they're dancing in the aisles. They're high-fiving. They're celebrating. They're going bananas on Franklin Street. Oh, North Carolina says, bring out all the big guys. We want Michigan State. We want teams like North Carolina says we want teams like Kentucky and Louisville. They don't want Belmont. They don't want UAB.
The ball was up for grabs. North Carolina came away with it. Bryce Johnson, now you can argue, did he foul? But he went after it harder, and he wound up getting it. And that is a gutsy pass by Marcus Page, throwing that up there with the left hand. But Bryce Johnson rewarded it. And North Carolina is loving this.
To nominate the best plays of the day from across the world of sports, tweet using hashtag #SCTop10. And this certainly could be something that winds up in the SportsCenter Top 10 tonight.
What a big turnaround. That's a 4-point turnaround right there, plus a momentum builder for North Carolina.
Part of it was because Kentucky settled for a jump shot instead of getting into the rim.
Well, I think one of the problems is Julius Randle's not taking advantage of his great ability on the inside. We haven't seen him post up hardly at all.
Most of the drives that Kentucky is taking right now are coming off the first pass or no passes against a set defense.
So I really think North Carolina's done a great job negating the great ability of Randle defensively.
And there's Randle with a very strong drive as he draws the foul. Top women's basketball programs in the nation. Headline, ESPN's primetime coverage of the Jimmy V Classic Tuesday with the UConn and Duke at 7 Eastern on ESPN2 at 7 on ESPN. Pitt, Cincinnati, and then the second game, Florida and Memphis.
Wow. Wow. The art of making a free throw. I have a little message for all you beautiful fans out there in Big Blue Nation. I know you love your team. I know you have great passion. I tell you very simply, patience, patience, patience.
That is not in a dictionary in the Commonwealth.
6-point game, a minute to go. Collie Stein with a foul.
They're tripping about court.
Fourth on Collie Stein. 9th team foul, so 1-1 for Britt.
And we can't emphasize enough how much better North Carolina will be when word comes that they get those two guys, Hairston and McDonald, if that does happen. Because Hairston's ability, he's a first-round player. Yeah. They say he has been lights out in practice. He's done everything the coaches have asked him to do. They've punished him big time. He's made some mistakes. Kids make mistakes. And I say it's time now to say, you know what? Let's give the guy a shot. Let's give him an opportunity. I mean, I don't want to see happen to Kid Kabongo last year.
Right.
What did he get eligibility like 10 games?
Yeah, late in February. That was a mess. A travesty, really.
Offensive rebound. Johnson tapped it out. McAdoo's heading to the free throw line.
You can't allow that happening. You're down 7-6 rather. You got to really check out, block out, and come up with those rebounds.
There are very few programs that do a better job when they can't get a rebound of tapping it back out than North Carolina. That's always been a staple. Dean Smith used to teach it. Roy Williams has always taught it. And if you don't go after it with both hands against North Carolina, they're going to tap it and keep it alive and ultimately come up with it.
And that was a point of emphasis from John Calipari repeatedly at shoot-around today, was you've got to go up there with two hands because that's what they're going to try to do.
You know, you mentioned Dean Smith, a great tribute to him at halftime. It was great to see. I thought Eric Montrose did a great job and Phil Ford.
Dean Smith awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom several weeks ago.
That was a wonderful tribute. Yeah. Everybody in the Dean E. Smith Center was standing up, and it was really beautiful.
1 of 2 for McAdoo, 19 on the game.
Just got to play solid defense. You don't want to foul. You don't want to stop that clock. Go up strong.
Collie Stein draws a foul.
North Carolina did almost everything right. Just most of the game, they've not been able to come up with that defensive rebound. Kentucky's dominated the glass, but that was not such a bad foul because he kept him from scoring.
5th on Britt.
You look at the body language. When you look at the body language of Kentucky right now, body language does not look positive. It's drooping, sad. I think a lot of these kids came in with all those accolades. There was some talk. People were talking about 40-0. Remember that? You read that?
Yep.
40-0.
Yep.
I mean, give me a break in today's day and age.
High school All-Americans, won state titles, and they're fighting that college basketball is a whole different level. And this, unless they have a miraculous comeback, this will be the 3rd loss of the season for the young Wildcats.
Well, for anybody to talk undefeated before a season starts is absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, the last undefeated team was Bob Knight's Indiana team in 1976, and that team lost 1 game over a 2-year period in 75 and 76. They were all older.
They wouldn't have lost if Mr. May didn't get hurt.
Exactly, broke his arm.
Free throw line. Wow. Wow. Simple art. Just ask Roy Williams, 22 for 48 against Belmont.
Makes blockouts that much more important.
Home run pass, and Randall called for the intentional foul, grabbed the jersey of McAdoo.
And McAdoo, with his ability to run the floor, and a great job by North Carolina to look long. And that would have been a 15-yard flag if this were a football game.
2 shots now in the basketball.
Just
there
grabbed,
he comes.
Grabbed him by the jersey, and that's an automatic.
Absolutely. Uh-oh, here comes the overrated prize.
I don't know why they do that. When you say overrated, you're devaluing your own win. And it's only a 2-possession game.
That's big right now. He makes this one. It is tough city. He's been sensational today. He has really been great in that he's attacked the basket. He got people in foul trouble. He's had some bounces go his way.
7-point lead, Carolina, 48 seconds to go.
I think people, when they saw that score with Belmont, would have never, ever believed they could beat Louisville, Michigan State, and Kentucky.
Yep. Right now, inbounding the ball, very important for North Carolina. Be strong with it. You get fouled, you go to the line.
Yeah, Kentucky's got to foul immediately if they don't make a steal.
Into Simmons. And they'll put him on the free throw line.
He had a little quality minutes. While he was on the floor, didn't hurt him, didn't do anything special, but did hurt him.
You know what? James starts, and then Meeks comes in, and Johnson comes in, and Simmons comes in, and in the front court, Jay, Roy Williams has 5 or 6 different options, and he's using all of them depending on his needs from a game-to-game basis.
Well, North Carolina does not have the same margin for error this year that they've had in years past. Without Hairston and McDonald, this is not a team that has a ton of scoring options. But when guys come in, they play their roles, play hard, and they've I think, outplayed physically in this ball game, Kentucky.
I'm going to tell you this. I think when you look at Hairston, the guy that's going to benefit the most from him, James Michael McAdoo.
Exactly.
Because with his ability to shoot the ball, it's going to be difficult to give that kind of help on James Michael.
And it'll keep defenses from loading up on the perimeter on Marcus Page, so it'll help him a ton as well. You know, right now, without Hairston and McDonald, North Carolina can't stretch a defense effectively like they could with those guys.
That foul. Andrew Harrison heading to the free throw line.
Where the last thing you want to do in this situation with a lead is foul and stop the clock. It's a 3-possession game.
Especially with 41 seconds on the clock.
Third on Page.
Tell you, look at the ACC right now. Certainly Syracuse is going to be a major player in their first year in the ACC.
Jay, we're going to look at Pittsburgh in the first game of the Jimmy V, their first year in the ACC as well. The Panthers are off to a good start.
Pittsburgh's really good and a very good passing team. Lamar Patterson, one of the better passers in the country that doesn't get credit for it.
They do a great job defensively as a team as well. Haven't played a really strong schedule, but they really have been impressive defensively.
We'll see another ACC powerhouse on Thursday. Duke and UCLA meeting up at Madison Square Garden.
That'll be fun. Talking about 2 elite programs. I think Steve Wolford's going to do a heck of a job at UCLA. He's going to have fans excited with the way they're going to run them down the floor.
This is not the guy they want to put on the line, but they will.
Have no choice. Ball's in his hands. It's a little education right now for these Kentucky kids. Like we said earlier, and you mentioned, Dan, the fact that they've been used to winning championships, high school, dominating people. And here it is at collegiate level, 3 losses already, and we're talking the middle of December.
Page, a great free throw shooter. He's had a huge second half, as you can see. He's now 5 for 5 tonight and came in at 87%.
I tell you, the state of Iowa's been good to Roy Williams. Wasn't LaFrance from Iowa and Collison from Iowa and Heinrich from Iowa?
Yes, they are, as was Harrison Barnes from Ames, Iowa.
Harrison Barnes as well. Played with McDermott in high school, did he not?
Roy Williams must like corn a lot.
Tell you what, Iowa State's got a heck of a basketball team. Freddie Herberg's kids are legitimate, and Iowa will dance this year.
Randall, no denying him there.
No, they let him go right to the goal.
They're trying to get it into Page, and Simmons will burn a timeout.
Marcus Page came into this ball game averaging 18 points a game. He'd made 23s on the season, was really all of North Carolina's three-point attack. And he has been spectacular in this second half. Had 2 points in the first half that he got off of John Calipari's technical foul toward the end of the half. In the second half, off the dribble, when he's gotten a switch, he has knocked down an open 3. Floaters oversized over Willie Cauley-Stein, the shot blocker. And out in transition, a little showtime also. Marcus Page has been the man of the match in this second half for North Carolina. The Tar Heels shooting over 50% in the second half.
A reminder, top of the hour, the Heisman Trophy presentation presented by Nissan. It comes your way 8 o'clock Eastern, 20 minutes from now here on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN.
I really believe had they not lost that game to Auburn, I think Alabama's A.J. McCarron would have been right there for that victory in the Heisman. But right now, it's Jameis Winston's.
Meeks finds Simmons.
Back it out, back it out.
And a few seconds run off, and Simmons, who missed a couple of free throws recently, will get another shot. 5th foul on James Young.
Well, it's been a lot of fun, guys. Been a lot of fun here, seeing 2 elite programs going head-to-head.
Are you tying a bow on this baby already? Are you done? Are you declaring a winner?
No, not yet. Still 27 seconds to go, but it's getting close. Yeah. It's getting close.
What, do you got a plane to catch or something?
I want to go see Bocelli. Maybe going late for the second half. My wife saves me the ticket.
There's a halftime of that show?
I saw the Eagles up there recently. You don't know I have a lot of culture in my life, do you? Do you think I'm all just 24/7 hoops, hoops, and hoops?
Are the Eagles still alive?
They were terrific, man. They packed that place.
Packed this place here today, a whiteout. We're told the first time ever that they've done this here at the Dean Dome. They laid out white T-shirts.
What about a baby blue or blue out?
Even Hairston and McDonald are wearing the white T-shirts on the Carolina bench.
They don't like him on that bench. They want to see him on the floor. They've been an assistant coach too long. Free throw line, keeping Kentucky alive. There's the 2 guys.
Even if he makes this, it's a 2-possession game. And there's plenty of time for Kentucky to get all the way to the rim and still foul again, put him back in the same position to miss a couple of free throws or miss one.
Well, Dean Smith had so many miracles here late in the game when he was coaching. Missing the free. Oh, they got the ball back.
Yep.
Just back it out. On the right guys now on the free throw line for North Carolina. What a disaster that is. What a disaster that is to Kentucky. John Calipari cannot be happy with this. Oh, look at it. Look at it. He can't believe it. He can't believe it.
You know, coaches don't like saying, "I told you so." They love it. And he'll be able to say, "I told you so,"
he will.
in film session a lot.
What an improvement this kid has made. You know, he came on strong at the latter part of the year, played really well in the ACC tournament.
Well, he played last year at a stellar 155 pounds. He's really bulked up to like 163 this year. But he's much stronger. He's such a good player and a tough kid.
And he's had to learn a new position, too. He's played a lot of shooting guard this year. Because with Hairston and McDonald out, Britt's got to start at the point.
He's terrific on Twitter, too. He's not like him, but he's terrific on Twitter.
Him, Billis? Nobody's like Billis.
That's the swag, man. Mr. Swag. Do I get swag?
Not like Billis.
Not like Billis?
Not like Billis.
I'm going to get some swag like Billis. How can I learn that? Is it too late for me?
It's too late.
Too late?
If Carolina goes on to win, they will up their record to 7-2, 3 wins over ranked teams. And look at what they've got. The rest of the month, they've got 4 more home games in a row before they start conference play in January at Wake Forest.
Looks like Texas a little improved this year.
Texas has improved. Rick Barnes has a much better team. Davidson has been without Damon Brooks, their big guy. He's been injured. But still a dangerous team if you're not prepared to play. And I don't think North Carolina, after dropping a game to Belmont and one to UAB, can afford to overlook anyone.
You know, Marcus Page said it best today. He basically said, people can say what they want, but there's definitely a different scenario when you play the big-time programs and their names. It shouldn't be, but automatically you get yourself a little bit more emotional, a little more intense.
Andrew Harrison for 3.
Big,
it's down to 4, and John Calipari will use his last timeout.
We've said all along the Harrison kids are going to be really outstanding players.
Boy, with that kind of lead, the last thing you want to do is allow your opponent to just step into a 3. There was a little bit of pressure, but you really want to get up on them, force them to drive. And if you give up a layup, that's one thing. But giving up a 3 puts you in a more precarious position. Now, North Carolina with a 4-point lead, 16.1 to go. Inbounding the ball safely and being strong with it so they can get fouled and step to the line. Now, making free throws has been an issue, but still, you have to inbound the ball safely first.
And you can see how many free throws Carolina has missed. Now, if they can get the ball into Page's hands, he's perfect tonight. Some of the other guys who have struggled, Tokoto, Simmons, are not in the game, but you got to think Kentucky wants to do anything they can to prevent that guy from getting the basketball.
Well, you look both teams right there. We saw their stats. Shooting free throws, an absolute disaster. I think right there, the 3 gives you lots of momentum. You get your team to start to believe we could maybe pull a miracle.
Well, right now, if you're Kentucky, you're switching every screen. You don't necessarily have to guard the man taking the ball out of bounds. You can put 2 on Marcus Page just to make sure that he doesn't get it.
Tokoto is in the game. Tokoto is in the game along with Page. McAdoo up front as well.
They're going to use the big guy on the baseline, Willie Cauley-Stein.
The home run to Tokoto.
Oh, Jam City. Lights out. Party's over. Party's over. They can start to celebrate on Franklin Street. Put it in a breakdown, Shona. Come on, Danny boy. Oh, Danny boy.
Aaron Harrison. 1 possession game.
Wow. Hang it in there. Did I say it was over?
I think you did. 3 times.
I did?
Loud.
Well, let me tell you, if they find a way to win this, they deserve to win it.
Well, North Carolina has burned Kentucky twice going long. The first time to James Michael McAdoo, this time to J.P. Tokoto. And not enough pressure on the ball because Willie Cauley-Stein was there to try to guard the inbounds pass. And that's one of the things you got to try to take away is make the long pass.
Well, Carolina's going to be careful not trading the 2 for 3 as they've been doing. This kid has been absolutely sensational in the second half. He joined McAdoo. He played brilliantly the entire game. The Page second half, he was 0 for 5 in the first half.
He's got 21 points in the second half, 23 in the game.
Just don't want to foul here. You don't want to foul.
And Carolina wins.
There's 3 for 3 against 3 big-time teams. Louisville, Michigan State, and Kentucky.
Some long faces for the young Wildcats. They lose their first true road game of the season. Marcus Page and company defeat Kentucky 82-77. For Nick Vitale, Jay Billis, and Janine Edwards, I'm Dave Shulman saying thanks for watching from the sold-out and loud Dean Dome here today. Coming up next, Sports Center here on ESPN and the Heisman Trophy presentation show at the top of the hour. So long from Chapel Hill.